Hey, super awesome listeners. It's Matt. Jen is on summer break getting ready season 5 of What Are You Listening To? So while she's resting and preparing all at the same time, we've got some of the best of her episodes as well as some of the other shows on the Super Awesome Mix podcast network. This week, it's our most recent new music mix from the Super Awesome Mix podcast. Enjoy and be sure to leave the show a 5-star review so more people can discover our super awesome podcasts. Did you know Super Awesome Mix has an app? Go to the Apple App Store today and download Super Awesome Mix. It's free. You could start creating and sending your own digital mixtapes in just a few clicks. Also, there's links to our Instagram account and a link where you can follow your favorite podcast. Speaking of which, welcome back to another Super Awesome Mix. My name is Matt Sidholm alongside my co-host and co-founder of Super Awesome Mix, Samer Abu Salbi. Samer, how we doing this week?
Doing real well. Happy July to you, good sir. How's your summer been going?
It's getting hotter and hotter, and every time it does, I only grow stronger and think about how much you hate it. Okay?
Which I'm sure also feeds your strength too.
And that just further strengthens me. Yes.
Of course.
So I tell thee, son, give me your best. You shall not break me. Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I sent my friend a happy 6 months till Christmas text message the other day on June 25th. And he just started cracking up. He's like, "How are you doing?" if you're counting down 6 months to Christmas, you're probably not doing okay. And he's not wrong.
So speaking of being miserable in the heat, I recently tried out an infrared sauna. Have you heard about this? It's supposed to bring all these positive effects. Are you familiar with this at all?
No, I'm not.
So yeah, I mean, they have the cryotherapy, which I've also done, where it's all right, it's super cold, it's 3 minutes, right? You're in, you're out. So with the infrared sauna, they're all right, you sit in this cabin, we're going to put the temperature up 150, 175 degrees, and you're just sitting in there for 45 minutes. And
wow.
It's supposed to, hey, you sweat everything out, great for recovery, this, that, and the other. And I tried it and I made it about 25 minutes. And then I was like, yeah, I'm feeling a little lightheaded. I'm getting out of this, right? Now, here's what sucks about living in Texas. Once I walk out the door from this place, well, now I'm right back in the sauna. There's no relief.
Yeah, you go from 175 to 155.
Yeah.
That's about all
it's only mildly cooler, still no breeze. So I can't stop sweating. And so I go from the sauna place to I'm picking up dinner on the way home or something. And the guy's like, hey, you're sweating a lot. The guy there, it was so noticeable that guy at restaurant is like, hey man, you okay? What's going on?
Right.
But the few minutes I was at the restaurant, that was the one AC, the relief that I got.
Right.
And then back walking to my car, but okay, I'm back in the sauna. So
you gotta just schedule them back to back. You gotta go infrared to cryotherapy and then be on your way.
I think I do. Yeah. Just go from one right to the other, or just stick with the cryotherapy. Cause honestly, I think it's better, but anyway. Yeah. So there's my little story about doing a sauna in the middle of the summer in Texas. It's not a great idea.
No, but what is a great idea is all the new music on our mix and listening to it, because there's some really great tracks here. As the music industry heats up throughout the year, I feel like things are really rolling right now. I've been really enjoying our new music mixes.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, again, and I think we had just right off the bat here, this first track is actually one that we both picked, right?
It is, yes. And without further ado, I'll introduce it. It is Dreamin by Common and Pete Rock.
Yeah, I feel like nowadays more people associate Common with kind of dramatic readings that he does before an NBA game or something.
Yes. He's got a great voice for that.
He does, right. He's very good at it. That's not a criticism at all, but I feel like most people are Yeah, no, I've seen that guy on TV. Like, you absolutely know him. But I don't know, maybe people forget that he's a musician, and he's
Yeah.
incredible. I actually saw him live once, and it was almost like a variety show, just the different things he could do up there. Like, there was a lot of dancing, a lot of, I mean, he even DJ'd for a little bit, and just obviously the singing and the rapping. So he's great. And this is off an upcoming album called The Auditorium Volume 1, and it gets an appropriate title because this song feels like the, opening number of a show, and kind of introducing you to just what's to come on this album. So it'll be a really interesting album once the full thing comes out. But this one's awesome just because he really, amidst the lyrics, gives a lot of shout outs to a lot of different people. Biggie, MLK, Prince, Sheila E., Aretha. Like, it's great. And he weaves them in. It's not really gratuitous at all. He really does tell a great story. So, I mean, it stood out for me and obviously stood out for you as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this track. I was just thinking this is like the opposite of an Eminem diss track because it's just naming a bunch of people out of a lot of respect for them. I think Obama even gets a shout out in there, it's incredible. And of course it samples Aretha Franklin throughout, where, she has like the chorus talking about dreaming, and Pete Rock is on the trumpet, and it's amazing. It just adds this really smooth like vibe to it, along with his voice, which we talked about, which is just buttery smooth as well. Like, he's great. I've always enjoyed listening to Common's music. That was actually my first introduction to him, and then I started to see him in acting roles. So it went the other way for me, but I imagine it's flipped for a lot of other people. But yeah, really happy we both picked this track. This is a really cool one.
Agreed. Now, this one, someone less famous, but I think this was a fantastic song. It is Easy to Love by Aaron Fraser.
Yeah, as is usually the case, we don't really plan sometimes, songs go next to each other, but then they end up working really well next to each other because this is just like another really smooth, easy to listen to track. I find that the song itself is easy to love because it just has this great throwback vibe to it. It's like, just you could put this on during a party and people would just vibe to it, and just a great chorus. I only have positive things to say about the song in the sense of just like how good it makes me feel listening to it. I think it's a really nice track start to finish, and a great little like summer smooth vibe, like late night track to it. So really happy to discover this. I was not familiar with Aaron Fraser. This is one of those ones where I'm just clicking around on new music and stumbled upon it. And I especially know that something's cool because my wife was nearby and I was listening to it not on headphones. She's like, "Whoa, who is this?" So I know that I have something good whenever she actually like wants to listen to it. She has very discerning music taste. So
yeah, I think this song's appropriately titled because I think the song itself is easy to love. I mean, he's got such a soulful voice, and it's at such a high register, like a high pitch, but not in just like sort of a falsetto the entire time. Like, it's just, I thought his voice just blew me away. And it's definitely someone I want to hear more of. But you're right, it was like soulful enough. Like, this is definitely kind of a love song to it, but it's not like slow. Like, it's still kind of dancey. Like you said, you could put it on at a party. So I thought this was a great find. I really, really enjoyed this one.
That's awesome. And to kind of prove the point that we don't put our songs next to each other on purpose, I'm going to introduce the third song, which is a hard left turn here from the two vibes. And it is Kirk Cousins by Woodboy G.
All right. So I admittedly, this one got me on title alone. I was like, okay, who's writing a rap song about Kirk Cousins, right? But
right.
Kirk Cousins, longtime quarterback in the NFL, most recently of the Minnesota Vikings, but he signed with the Atlanta Falcons. And I think that's where the connection is here, because I believe Woodboy G is a Falcons fan. He makes a reference to Michael Vick as well as the Dirty Birds. And so, but he doesn't mention Kirk Cousins at all.
No, the most he gets to is like go, go, go touchdown.
Yeah,
like,
that's the most is go, go, go touchdown. This almost seems like an attempt by Woodboy G to kind of become the song of the season for the Falcons. Like, I want everyone to play this at the games and this just to become a thing when we get in the end zone. But, it's funny because Kirk Cousins is as Midwestern dad as they come, right? Like, this is not someone who you'd associate with rap music. He had the funny video on the Team Plane a couple years ago where he's wearing like the gold chains and going shirtless, and all the guys are laughing at him. But pretty decent quarterback. Probably not going to win them a Super Bowl, but great that he's getting a shout out. Overall, though, like, take this out of it, I did like this song. Right? Like,
Yeah.
It's a pretty good rap song, and the rest of this album is actually pretty solid as well. So while this one kind of sucked me in on title alone, I did enjoy it. Worth listening to.
Yeah, it has like a great kind of amp up workout track vibe to it. I definitely could see him trying to get it as like the locker room song of choice for those guys, because also the lyrics can get or become very explicit near the end of this song. So I was also very curious what Kirk Cousins himself would think about having this song be on the internet about him, knowing his vibe, or at least guessing at his vibe from what I've seen of him. So
I think they told Woodboy G they're only going to play like the first 90 seconds. So just go nuts the last minute or so. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Your next pick. You went with Deja Vu by Logic featuring DJ Drama.
Yes. Oh, I love Logic. That's definitely like a clickbait artist for me as well. Anytime he puts out new music, I love to listen to it. And this one in particular, I really like. Like, there's been a number of new tracks from him that I've kind of skipped over, but this one I've really enjoyed, so I wanted to feature it here. Love his rapping on this track, and this one definitely could go on my like confidence playlist. It just kind of gives me that attitude of wanting to strut, and just feel very confident and feel good about myself. And that's basically what he's rapping about. He's kind of rapping about all the accolades and the fame, the success that he's gotten. And although it's like thinking about all those things, and I really like this one line here where he sings, "Because the money and the fame, success in the game has nothing to do with the life of happiness you plan to attain," which I think is a really cool little reminder that, oftentimes we seek those like kind of things out there, money, fame, success, etc. But in fact, happiness comes from other sources, usually from within, or a sense of like accomplishment and self-worth. So yes, those things are nice to have, I'm sure. But they are often not a source of happiness. They're just like the result of you doing other things. So really love that message here, but just overall enjoyed the track and really like listening to it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, this one, even if you just ignore the lyrics and just like kind of listen to the song, like, it's a great song. Like, you're going to get into it just based on that. But then, I thought the lyrics were so thoughtful. And just so many great points made, kind of like you described the Common track. This was very much the opposite of a diss track. It's like he almost just seems like grateful and just like, I appreciate my family. I appreciate this life I have, but it's all wrapped up in this rap song where, so people out there who kind of just dismiss rap music, I think this songs like this will probably get you thinking about it in a different way.
Absolutely. All right, track number 5. Extra excited to introduce this one. This is Mountains Separate Us by the Dusk Whales.
Yeah, the Dusk Whales came to us via just random email. And this is not the first time we've done this on the show. So I do continue to encourage like PR and publicist people, like, send us music. We really do listen to it and really try to get into it. So they've got an album coming out in August. And actually, it sounds like we are going to have them on the show before that album comes out. And so that's really exciting. These guys, similar to, you had the Lemon Twigs on the New Music Mix, I think 2 months ago. And the Lemon Twigs had a very like throwbacky sound in the sense that, and not throwback to like the 80s, it was like throwback to like the 60s. And that was like, same thing with the Dusk Whales. And they list some of these, like the Beatles and some of these other bands as influences. And I think you can really hear it in this music. And so I'm really excited to bring them on and talk to them because, like we said when we listened to the Lemon Twigs, it's like, why don't more bands do this if they're heavily influenced by these old bands, try to recreate that sound? And I think the Dusk Whales have done a pretty good job of that. They're a real up-and-coming band, and I think it's going to be really cool to hear their story and hear what they have to say. But great track that this one's out there right now. And like I said, the rest of the album's coming in August.
Yeah, this was a really good track. I'm super excited to have them on the show. It's always fun to have musicians join us and talk about music that, why they wrote the songs that they did, and then also which songs are they currently listening to that they really like and how did that influence them. So it's going to be a great discussion. This band actually reminded me of like the New Pornographers, which is another like alt band that I really love, and that's a huge compliment because I love those guys. So I was really excited to listen to this track. I enjoyed it a lot, and again, I'm really eager to have them on the show and get the chance to talk to them.
All right. Now, who knows? Maybe we'll have these guys on the show later in the year. Okay. But track 6, you got He Knows by Camila Cabello and Lil Nas X.
Yeah, we could definitely get them on the show. Just slide into their DMs, no problem.
How about just one of them? We don't need both.
Just even one of them. Yeah. I mean, Lil Nas X ran the United New York City half, which I did back in March. So should be on the lookout next time I run these things. Just
you got to find like what pace he's running at, and then just try to match his pace.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, oh hey, while I have you, let me just do a quick little podcast.
We need to equip you with one of those like mobile like microphones and headsets, so you could just run and do the interview right then.
Yeah, he wouldn't be annoyed by that
not
at all.
Not at all.
This is a great collaboration, though. I think it's, you said something earlier about a song that's just like really easy to listen to, and that's kind of the vibe that I get from this. Like, it's just a good, catchy song, like a high energy pop dance song. Could also see it being like a great summer track. It reminds me almost of like a Drake song from the album Views. Like that's kind of the, back before Drake just became kind of like angry. I feel like Views was before he got angry. So yeah, that's kind of what I get from this, and I like it.
Pre-angry Drake. Yeah, I didn't have that in my notes. No, I could see this becoming a monster hit, just because it's, well timed. It's about 3 minutes long. I mean, you just right off the bat, I think the beat just kind of gets you, and then Lil Nas X kind of starts to come in a little bit at the chorus, and then he kind of takes over with his part in the song, like about 90 seconds in. And so it's just really well done. They really mesh well together. And yeah, totally agree. It's a great collaboration, and definitely one I think we're going to hear a ton over the next few months.
All right, this next track has, again, a great band name, which I think we've talked about before, but the track is Get Used to the Night by Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats.
Yes. So we had Nathaniel Rateliff on last month's New Music Mix. He was helping out Orville Peck on another, country track that, Sammer wasn't thrilled with. But here he's back with his group, the Night Sweats. The new album's called South of Here. This song feels like it's about kind of aging and things that you used to do, you can't really do anymore. And, I feel like when I hear that lyric, like get used to the night, it's almost like if you ever have been, or you wake up and everything's dark and your eyes just need a second to adjust, right? It's almost like that type of thing. It's like as you get older, you kind of need a little bit of time to adjust to kind of like who you are in that moment, whether it's what your body can do, what your mind can do, what you're doing with your life, like whatever it is. So I don't know. I thought it was a really well-written song, and I love the sound that they put out. And I don't know. Just these guys, I always kind of come back to them ever since I discovered them a couple of years ago, and just really like their music.
That's cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. I loved the vibe of this song. It almost reminded me of like a Counting Crows track in a way. And I wrote here, if this counts as country, then I like it, because I couldn't really. It was like country adjacent. Yeah. It could have been, but maybe that's why I like it. No, it was a really great track. Very relaxed one. Again, I could see myself. I always imagined myself like where I'm at listening to music. And this is another one where it's, after a long summer day, you're kind of sitting out on a patio somewhere, just enjoying the night as well, and just taking it all in. So I really like this track.
All right, track 8, we've got Midnight by James Blake and Lil Yachty.
Yeah, this one caught my eye. I generally love Lil Yachty, and I've listened to some James Blake collaborations before, so I was like, sure, let's check on this one, and I really, really liked it. It works really well together, you know, similar to a lot of other Little Yachty tracks. Like, it's very trippy. It's exactly what I expect from them. And it's a song, I think, you know, really just kind of like dealing with being yourself and not changing back to like another version whenever you go to, you know, be around others. And I think it's something that we can relate to, how we're often different people around different groups of people. So that's kind of how I interpreted the lyrics. But in general, I think it's just like a cool track that is a little trippy, but really just like a gorgeous song start to finish.
So, admittedly, I didn't love the song the first time I heard it. And
Yeah,
went back a second time, listened to it again. It got better. I think it's probably a minute too long. And I don't know if
I
that's
could see
just,
that.
you know, like, I think there was a moment where I was like, they could probably end this song right now. And I'm pretty satisfied. And then, yeah, I think it kind of keeps going. So I didn't love it as much as your other picks this month, I would say. But I will say it did. I think the second time through, I was like, I kind of appreciated it more, but still, I was like, you know what it was? I think it kept building up, but it never quite like kind of just finally hit and had the payoff there.
Right.
So it was just kind of build,
Yeah.
build, 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 and yeah, I just wanted that little payoff there. If I could remix that one.
No, that makes sense. But you know, I'm quite indifferent to your opinion here, which is gonna bring us to track 9. Which is Indifferent by Megan Moroney.
Listen, guys, that's why Sammer's a pro's pro. Okay, right there, segues like that, and I hope you all appreciate it. Yeah, Megan Moroney, she was on one of my best of picks a couple of years ago from her first album, the song I'm Not Pretty. So 4 songs from her new album are out right now. And I think the new album comes out either later in July or next month. But yeah, I couldn't decide which one to pick because all 4 of them were really well written and really well sung. I really like the way she kind of approaches things. Here, she just talks about this relationship that she used to care so much about. She was all in, and now she just doesn't care at all. And she talks about what a great feeling it is to be indifferent. And I'll call it the
Yes.
lyrics. June came and went. When's your birthday again? Did I miss it? My bad. That's on me. And I just love that thought that indifference is just a great feeling.
Yeah. No, it's true. Like, to have someone become, you know, so important in your life. And we talked about this song a while ago by The Best called An Expert in the Dying Field. I may have talked about that with Jen on her show. And what she's singing about is like you become an expert, and the dying field is this relationship. Like, you know everything about this human being. You are an expert on this human. But then because the relationship's ending, now it's a dying field. And I think that, you know, the arc finally ends where Megan is, which is like you realize you don't care anymore about all that stuff. Like, and that is such a sweet relief. I love the line here. I think I could wish you the best. The truth is I couldn't care less. How sweet it is to be so indifferent.
Yeah, she is great. And she's got another few tracks out there already, like I said, that are really well written. So keep going back to her music, please. Another one who I think is just a really clever songwriter. You've got a track 10. It is Internet Baby by Gail.
Yeah, these next 2 picks on mine, I think are my 2 favorite off of this whole mix. And this one in particular, I love the lyrics. It just makes me laugh. She has really inventive like music that she sings about. Great chorus. And obviously, if you're a millennial, I think it's a very relatable track because basically she's just calling us all internet babies. I love the wow that she like integrates into it all. And there's so many things to call out here. So I love the line, "Don't need to do it. I'll cancel myself. Is it really hate if it's in lowercase?" Which are 2 great lines, because obviously cancel culture became a huge thing. And she's like, "Don't worry about it. I'll just cancel myself." And then "Is it really hate if it's in lowercase?" is great because I'm guilty of this too. Like, a lot of millennials kind of like rejected casing in sentences and just went all lowercase as if somehow, I don't know, we were sticking it to someone, by not casing things. And so I love that. Like, does it really count in hate if you're lowercasing? It's like a gentle hate, it's very calming. And then finally, the line where she just kind of offhandedly says, "Oh my God, go away," is perfect because she's so exasperated when she says that. And I think that's also a feeling that I can relate to these days. So yeah, love the track.
Love this one. Yes, I totally agree. I also love how she says she wishes she was born in the 80s. I was born even earlier than that, but I think it's it's still, I mean, you were born in the 80s. Like, I think growing up without all this stuff probably made for a simpler childhood. Like, seeing my own kids grow up with, and they're not on social media or anything, but they definitely hit up like YouTube and stuff. And all the stuff they get hit with now, it's just like, I mean, as a parent, I'm just running stuff down left and right. Whereas before it was just
Right.
like, all right, children's programming ended at 10 a.m. and maybe they watch a soap opera or something, but that's about as racy as content got that you had to run down, or, like they'd have to get on a phone that they had to pick up, like to have to interact with friends. And now there's text messages and all sorts of stuff out there. Anyway, yeah, totally agree. I think there's a lot of people who, for whatever reason, that all that exposure hasn't made anybody tougher, right? It actually makes
Right.
everybody more sensitive. You would think
Yes.
people would develop a thick skin from all that, but it's gone the opposite way. But yeah, anyway, just love this one. Really, really great job by her putting this together.
Absolutely agree. And, I'm so glad that she made it, which brings me to track number 11, which is So Glad You Made It by Fantastic Cat.
Okay, so I said earlier that Kirk Cousins on title alone kind of sucked me in, right? These guys, when
Yeah.
I just saw the name Fantastic Cat, and I was like, okay, well, let me go check out a band called Fantastic Cat, right?
Yeah.
Even better was that this is off the album Now That's What I Call Fantastic Cat, okay, which is also a great album title.
That is a good
Now,
one.
this is their second album. The first album was called The Very Best of Fantastic Cat.
That's amazing as a first album name.
No, these guys, this is like my new favorite band because I went back, I've listened to all their music at this point, right? I've exhausted their 2 album catalog, but it's
Yep.
technically a super group. These are all singer songwriters independent of each other: Anthony D'Amato, Brian Dunn, Don DeLego, and Mike Montali. And I wasn't familiar with any of their work independently, but them coming together as Fantastic Cat reminded me of kind of the band, if you're familiar with them, or even a little bit of Counting Crows. And so it was funny when I came across this particular track because I'm like, God, this really sounds like a Counting Crows track. And then all of a sudden, whose voice do I hear? But it's Adam Duritz of Counting Crows. And so he
That's
jumps in on
awesome.
this one
Yeah.
and lends his voice to the backgrounds. So I thought that was kind of funny. But these guys are great. I really have not been this excited about a new band in a long time. And I don't know. Maybe we'll reach out to them and see if they want to come on the show as well. Might be a little more gettable than Lil Nas X if Sammer can't catch him in the marathon. But it's I don't know. Just really enjoyed this song, this album, this band. So yeah, Fantastic Cat.
This is such a great song. And it's funny, I had the experience similar to one you had earlier where when it first opened, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this one. But then as I just kept listening to it, it really grew on me and I really enjoyed it. The song is great. Like I don't know what genre this falls into. It's kind of like a bunch of different ones. Like it's like kind of country, kind of folksy, kind of alternative. Like it's hard to place it. And I think that's also the beauty of it, is that it doesn't necessarily fit cleanly into like a single bucket. So I really liked it. I also love the line, "If you aren't swimming, you're drowning," and I think that's like a really powerful reminder of just kind of like just keep progressing, keep putting in the effort, keep moving. There's like a lot that I talk about on my show, Super Awesome You, which is we are kind of always in motion, and you get to decide what that motion is, whether it's a forward one or like a sinking one. So I think that's a great line, and I really enjoyed this track, so I was happy to be introduced to them.
Yeah, and they the line right before that is that there ain't no way around this. And so it's exactly what you're saying, right? It's like if you've got to go through something, if you're not swimming, you're drowning.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
really well done. All right, let's finish on a super high note. This was a great song to go out on. Track 12, your last pick. It is Rockstar by Lisa.
Yeah, I was not familiar with Lisa, and so I'm really happy to be introduced to her because this is like a great like confidence, walk tall song, has an amazing bass beat and vibe to it. Super high energy, as you said. It reminds me a little bit of, like, especially the chorus, like MIA's Paper
Hmm.
Planes, like that song. I get that vibe. But she's awesome. I mean, she's just talking about how great she is and how she's multilingual and how she's a rock star. I mean, she's like just really leaning into how good she feels about herself, which is hopefully a feeling that gets transmitted to you feeling good about yourself. So really great. Love that it again kind of sits in multiple genres. It's got like an electronic vibe to it. It's got a hip hop vibe to it. This is just an awesome track to kind of go out on a high note, which is not like me typically, since I normally want to end on a very low note, but here we are.
It's not like you, especially in the summer. But I'm telling you, we're getting
Especially in the
upbeat
summer.
Sammer. This is the summer of upbeat Sammer. Okay. Man, totally agree. I love the energy in this one. She raps as fast as like Nicki Minaj, right? So it kind of give you a sound alike there a little bit. Not familiar with her work at all prior to this, but could see this as a great montage song in a movie. I mean, it's going
Hmm.
to get you fired up. I thought the same thing, just the kind of confidence, the fired up, whatever we've called it in the past. Like this is definitely in that bucket, and definitely something you want to listen to over and over again. Gets you going in the morning, all of that. So great pick, and yeah, I mean, look, this would be a great one to start off. This would be a great one to end up, and probably in the middle you could put this one too. So just a great song overall. But yeah, I'm interested to hear what else she does. Like like the rest of this album, I think might be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
All right, well, there you have it. More new music for you this time for the month of July. So enjoy this one. We've got, of course, new music coming up the rest of the year. We've got the Dusk Whales. They're going to come on at some point. But I think coming up in the near term, we've got a mix for the upcoming Summer Olympics, which we are very excited about. So we're going to get to work on that. Hit us up at Super Awesome Mix on Instagram. And so for Sammer, this is Matt, and we'll see you next time. Super Awesome Mix is brought to you by DLM. Make shopping easy with DLM, the one-stop shop for all your casual clothing needs. Shop dlmsupplyco.com and enter the promo code AWESOME at checkout to save 15% off your first purchase. That's dlmsupplyco.com.